What's up, guys? Today this is gonna be my first time playing this game called Legends Landings. I have no idea what this is. But yeah, I'm just gonna try it.
They've been mentioned with 13 teams out. You
What
got a
the?
whole slew of spots that are opening up. Teams immediately trying to take advantage. This is where Curve and Veno, our FNCS champions, actually did land, and you can kind of see why players are moving in this location. Sharkman and Yuz, they missed out on that opportunity, but this is the second chance, and sometimes that's all you need. He's going to stay alive now and try to create some distance between him and Cam and his duo on the other side, so that way he at least has an opportunity to get the reboot card and his teammate back in the game.
Whoa, this is cool.
Both of these duos here are very much experienced players, but Yuz has got to be careful. He's moving straight towards Dragon and Creon there. Team that can obviously... So, I mean, it makes sense that teams will want to claim the Battlewood Boulevard. You know, the strategy's already been played out.
Wait, whoa.
Zen and Bucky, though, the team that obviously we've been excited to watch play out here now that we're in the second chance kind of format.
Wait, this is
obviously
cool.
They had a chance within the grand finals, you know, to try to make their stake, their claim to land. However, this is their redemption opportunity.
And I know we kind of see a lot of contested fights. Sometimes they go head-to-head just like this. Other times, try to disengage on out. Sandy Strip, in theory, is going to be big enough, but Bucky said it himself. We are fighting here. No matter who lands here, 2 teams, 3 teams, heck, you can send the whole lobby. They're ready to duke it out, and already you kind of see shades of that happening. Bucky trying to get a whole nother angle. This is where things might slow down just a little bit because the material count, that's a whole different level of confidence when you're able to push in, take control of the pieces, and try to go for some big shots. Bucky right now has a lot of those materials for the duo.
Yeah, also just the ammo's starting to run low as well, so you can tell this is being pretty dragged out, and all sides have done very little farming. Even Zen has to drop his AR here, swap into the pistol for now. Meanwhile, Bobby and Cakes
this is
ultimate low here, trying to buy some time,
cool.
trying to maximize whatever material counts they can
You can
get.
like watch. Oh shoot.
Tough spot to be in if you're
What am I
Bobby
doing?
and Kicks. Better spot for Bucky and Zen, who are kind of dictating the pace here.
And I like this idea. They're not necessarily disengaging in terms of like leaving the actual POI altogether. They realized what's happening and how their opponents are playing that fight. You don't want to stay stagnant in this position, not being able to farm up.
Wait, can you watch this live on
Zen and
YouTube?
Bucky, they're just going towards the outskirts of the actual POI, getting some extra loot, but you can see they keep looking in that direction, Monster. They're ready to fight it if it still comes down to it and if that opportunity opens up. But as that one slows down, we go to the other side of the map where Yamzo and Josh. Yamzo for a while now, community talking to him. He's the future of Fortnite.
Can they step up to the expectations the community has of them? Rising Curly on the other side. One of those teams that just came up short. What do you think about this duo here, Jacob?
I like it. For, you know, Rise, you know, we've seen him around FNCS for years. You probably longer than me. You've been a mainstay on the broadcast for quite a while. You know, just coming into this, you know, he hasn't had the best teammate options, but it almost goes to show, like, his passion. When he's passionate, when he's dedicated and putting the time in the game, he has some good duos. He has some good chances, but when he's not, that's when you see his slip up. I think this Rise is passionate. He's dedicated. He's playing with Curly. Again, we talk about the experienced players kind of playing with the new guard. That's another example here, and they're uncontested this time around, so I do have high hope for them, especially Rise being one of the better IGLs in the region overall. But you're seeing how this one's playing out. The zone is kind of pulling these teams towards the south overall, maybe the center of the map. And so for the teams that are landing on the outskirts, they're more focused on rotating in toward the zone, gaining some scraps. You see Yemity here along with Avenger. They are missing a ton of metal, which is one of the most precious resources that we have. And this is kind of the name of the game. Stay away from those early game fights, keep your surge intact, and just trying to figure out what fills the rest of your loadout.
I am a bit concerned, though, when I see teams stay this long in the storm early on. We've seen it come back around to bite them multiple times now throughout the last couple weeks here on the main stage. I feel like it's inevitable. But for now, things are pretty chill. Chris and Drew had, I want to say, a fair amount of success in their fights, at least in the early game, right? We saw Peterbot, we saw Boya trying to push this team in. They really didn't or weren't successfully able to fully eliminate them. However, you can tell that, I mean, clearly something went wrong with their overall earning points strategy. So they're mixing things up, right? Coming up to the Frigid Fortress, we don't really see this team kind of move in this general direction, at least not from what I can remember. So I am curious to see if Chris and Drew can piece together a new strategy, a fresh strategy coming into this week.
One tap.
Yeah, especially being kind of a newer team. We're kind of seeing them consistently make these Div Cup finals, you know, dating back a few of those. They've made 16 overall combined. They've made 3 FNCS finals appearances, 2 of those coming this past weekend as a duo. So they're still gaining their footing in the overall ecosystem of competitive.
Bring that eastern and southern area.
Wait, is this like an actual live
Veer, on the
TV
other
channel?
hand, completely different story. They've had moments where they were shining up at
Hold
the
on.
top and then
Okay, so I found it.
Over them, but any
Look, it was like 2 hours ago, but wait, what's this? Oh, wait, there's one happening right now.
No,
Oh,
there was
definitely.
almost no stage in the tournament zone. Just kind of shows that the second chance might be a lot of these players' last chance.
Yamzo and Josh Rowley lurking nearby as well, trying to see
Okay,
if the
well,
team's going to make a move. Big fan of Scare and Osid sticking together here. Definitely a team that has that rapport with one another. Looking at the feed though, not sure what happened with Zen there. Possibly fallen in the storm. We'll keep tabs on that team. Jumping up to 91 players now as players get rebooted. So a lot of activity in play here. Meanwhile, you have Electro trying to rotate on the outskirts. Scare putting in good pressure from up top. Yamzo, Josh Riley.
Wait, there's an
trying to go
actual,
for
like,
one of those exchanges.
commentary
Clearly,
Fortnite
they end up
thing?
on the losing side of it.
I didn't even know that.
Storm Surge is going to activate. We knew this was coming. 91 players still up, and there's going to be a good chunk. We saw Josh Yamzo less than 100 above the damage threshold. I think that is going to be the case for a good portion of this game and a good portion of these teams. So if you do get that max pull, you have to be quick to rotate. You have to figure out a plan before it comes into play. Some teams might not necessarily be in that same scenario, though. You see Pure, you see Evan, they have
Okay, hold up.
options
In
here.
this
Looks like they're
situation, I
rotating
might be a
towards
little bit
Scriptly
dumb,
Shores. There
but does
is a
anybody
rift
know why
here
the
that they can try
inventory
and
is in the middle and
utilize,
on the
but
side, and
depending
why
on
it looks
where
like
the
that?
entire lobby
Is that just like an
pulling towards the
FNCS
south,
thing,
they're gonna
or
have
like?
to go through a congested
Because I've
part
never
of the
played
zone
FNCS
if they actually
before.
want to make it there.
Have to be very careful not to
I'm
cross
too
path with
young,
a team that has
but, like-
a need for Storm Surge. One of the few that actually has
Well,
3 eliminations
why
in
is
the
it
game
like
right now.
that?
You can tell even from this one right here how quickly they were to beat trading shots there and come out, of course, ahead. And that's why they're sitting comfortably on the threshold. Meanwhile, talk about teams that already have been affected by the surge. Boz and Kugo here surely have a lot to be desired here. As they're hanging at the Dark Dominion, trying to play for the Mending Machine. Just buy themselves some time, but I mean, they're gonna be forced essentially. I was gonna say like key a team or something. There's too many teams in a storm that are below.
Yeah, and just because you see here Avenger, Yemeni, they're 16 above, right? They can rotate to zone perfectly and not take a single stretch.
Okay, yeah,
but they
I
can
agree
still
with him,
fall
like,
below the
they
damage
shouldn't be-
threshold
I don't
because
think
of
it's a
other
good
teams
idea
on
to
that
storm
leaderboard
camp.
being active, getting damage.
Because
Yes,
then,
they take a
like, you're
couple
gonna
shots
waste all your
there.
heals,
They
and then
do
when it's
fall
the
low,
last
and the
fight off or
instant they
something,
do, it's active
you
storm
could do
surge every
a heal
7
off, but, like,
seconds,
if it's, like,
25 damage. So
the
if you're
last,
below
like,
that
2v2
threshold,
or
you are
1v1
officially
or
on
something,
a clock to try
then,
to
like,
get any
if you
bit of
do
damage
get
that you
hit,
can.
then
I think
you
Avenger,
won't have
Yemeni,
any
they're feeling the
heals
pressure
to, like,
here, trying to push up onto Jojo
heal
Fishy
yourself
and
for,
Apoxy. They get the eliminations
you
here,
know,
but they're still not above the threshold.
to win,
Yeah,
because,
that was
like,
an
then you'll be
incredible
low
play
and
to
you
land on the teammate,
can't
but now
hear
Yemeni's
yourself.
under pressure here.
Because, look,
So
even this
Avenger
guy, look,
doubles
he's
back
low,
into the storm instead
and,
of
like,
chasing that
he
elimination
only has
so that
one
they
more
can get
med
the
kit.
most out of
Bro, the
their,
storm's right there.
missed.
The
Strawberry
circle's right
mist
there.
here.
Like, you can just go to it.
And I do respect the play, but definitely risky. Might have been better to just split up and go for the damage instead.
Oh my gosh, see what I
Avenger
mean?
with a desperate shockwave and spray and pray there, but it's just not going to be enough now. 99 damage below. There goes the last surge tick to finish them off. Curve and what looks to be... Oh, is that King? Yeah, okay. King and Craze jump down and pick up the loot here.
I get you, man. He's just trying to channel his inner FNCS
Don't like
champion
it.
here.
Don't
Yeah,
like
with
it.
Curve. Not necessarily. I want to see Craze get the shine, but that's just one of those mentalities here where he doesn't care if he gets the spotlight. He doesn't care if he's MVP. He doesn't care anything like that. He just wants to perform well. And that's one thing for certain. I've seen Craze from the start of the year up until now go through roster mania on his own, but more times than
this
not,
guy's
he is
lagging.
performing well, barely missing out of qualification. Get one of those 7 spots. Rise, the mainstay to FNCS. He's calling this his own last dance here. He's getting a second chance here. 146 above the damage threshold. A ton of trust in Curly here to perform, but they got a max pool. They are 146 above the damage threshold.
You guys remember when they did that thing where they like went into editing for a cone and then they used that so then they could see through it and look everywhere?
No,
I've never used that before.
Like,
they
go more cautious about the storm.
I never thought about doing that. I've never thought about doing that.
The timing seems perfect though. Look at this. They slip right by, avoiding tons of pressure, and honestly, they're just early enough before other teams get to set up. Meanwhile, jump into the storm here. You have Zen and Bucky. Okay, 3 below right now, so they definitely have a bit to worry about, but they're not in the worst of positions. They actually ended up tanking Storm to position themselves dead center now. So Bucky and Zen,
wait, what's that
are in a
sign?
pretty okay position.
I've never
You know,
seen
all
that.
things considering, it could be much, much worse. Teams get to set up.
That sign right there.
Meanwhile,
Wait,
jump into the
where's
storm
it?
here. You have
Right here.
Zen
I've
and
never
Bucky.
seen that sign before.
Okay, 3 below right now, so they
7
Wait, what?
AR bullets. So they're all use some of that medium ammo to kind of bleed through the builds and get
Wait, so
themselves.
if I go here and press this way,
Eventually that's going to run out. Eventually they're going to need some sort of refresh. Josh Yamzo, they're feeling the pressure as well. 200 above. They try to go for a sneaky play onto Vert and Taki. They're already in a good position here, but seeing the pizza being dropped, that goes to show that both of them probably had an open item slot that they're trying to get rid of.
Yeah, most definitely. Look at that. The elimination actually comes through because the Surge does the rest. So they get rewarded with points. Now they're looking for that body here to see if they can go ahead and find some desperate material count here. Already out of wood.
Wait, I didn't know
Josh Riley
Fortnite
is
had
riding
this.
on the edge. So we start taking a look at the wider picture here. Osid off to the side. The only team positioned with a little bit of high ground. Seems like elimination actually comes through because the Surge does the rest. So they get rewarded with points. Now they're looking for that body here to see if they can go ahead and find some desperate material count here. Side, the only team positioned with a little bit of high ground. Seems like they were the first to make it to zone. Possibly even a lucky pull there. Every team were jumping.
Deja vu of game number 1 in their heats where they were able to pull out a victory royale to go ahead and qualify to the finals, but they can't slow down. Neither can Curly and Rise. They find a quick elimination here, much needed for the Siphon.
They absolutely needed the damage as well. Look at this. That throws them up 300 above. That was going to be a
Okay,
200
that's really
damage
cool.
secured there. However, the Storm has done its work to Rise
Okay,
here.
well,
Ooh, big shots come in now.
That's really cool.
Pretty desperate position.
Well, guys, I really enjoyed seeing that thing with you guys because, like, I didn't even know that you could do that, but that's gonna be it for now. See ya.